Good morning. How you guys doing? All right, we're awake. How did we like Primo? We're awake. Awesome. My name is Rosy Cordero. I am the associate TV editor at Deadline. Anybody read Deadline out here? I thought it was gonna be like 3 people. Okay, guys, it is my pleasure to introduce our panelists for today. We have Christina Vidal, who stars as Drea. Just say, estás en tu casa, you know? And her small screen son, Ignacio Diaz-Silverio, who plays Rafa. Now, I love a good casting story, and this relationship is so special to the story. You guys are at the center of this tale. Talk to me a little bit about the casting process, and you guys have to have chemistry tested. No?
We did not, and I think Ignacio may have said something about that in one of the interviews where he was, or was it Johnny? I don't remember, but we were surprised that we had this instant chemistry because none of us did chemistry reads.
Yeah.
Well, tell me about when the role landed in your lap and why you were interested in playing the role.
Yeah. It certainly didn't land in my lap. I auditioned several times.
Well, I just meant once it landed on your lap and it was confirmed.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, I think my first audition was last year around like January or February. I had a few rounds of auditions and I booked it. And only after I booked it did I have a few chemistry reads with like the final actors playing up for like Miguel, Harris, and Maya. So I had chemistry reads.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I had chemistry reads with a couple Mayas and like some friends, but not with Christina or with any of the uncles.
That's why we gotta love our casting directors. They knew that you guys were going to
Yeah,
be
they
amazing.
really did.
yeah,
They
killed
really
it.
did.
Killed it. Carla Hool.
Yeah. No, it really is a huge testament to everyone on like the casting team and the producers, like how they managed to, I don't know, to put those puzzles together and just trust or know that these actors were gonna connect.
Yeah.
Now, the creator of the series is Shea Serrano, who sadly is not here with us today. There's a writer's strike going on. Yeah. But this is loosely based on his life. So how much input did he have as far as like is it, oh no, I wouldn't have acted that way? Like, what was the relationship like with Shea?
The relationship with Shea was incredible. I mean, Shea is like, as is evident by his like, massive and super ardent fan base online, he's just a super lovable guy. Like, it's impossible to not fall in love with him when you meet him. And he had, a ton of input on the show. Like, everything starts and ends with him. But in terms of being over our shoulder, like, or my shoulder specifically being like, I wouldn't have said it like that. I wouldn't have done it like that. He was the complete diametric opposite of that. He was, even from the very original, like from the very first conversation I had with him when I found out that I booked it, like, which was, just a phone call. Like, I remember even in that, on that call, like beginning to ask him sort of questions about himself. And it was just honestly like about music, because I know that's a huge part of his life. And even with those initial questions, he was really clear about like, you're not playing me, you're playing Rafa, and to that end, he was just incredibly generous about like giving all of us like a ton of freedom, a ton of space to really sort of own the characters and make it our own, and not feel any pressure to be beholden to like the real life version of these characters.
And you, Christina? Working with Shea?
He literally just, I couldn't say it any better. I could not.
That was also just, she was like, that was too long of an answer.
No, not at all.
So I'm not going to add on.
No, we gotta move this thing up.
Like, yeah.
No, literally he's so eloquent when he speaks too, because I couldn't have said it any better. Like, Shea was so generous, he was so encouraging, and he did not put any pressure on us of any kind. But specifically, concerning like having to mimic exactly, you know, his mom or himself or the brothers. Like he really wanted us to be confident in what he was confident in, that in the casting process, they kind of dealt with that. And so they chose essence-wise and everything who they felt would embody these characters the best and do it justice. And so now it was like, just run with it, you know?
How did the experience compare to, you've been doing this for a long time. You're a legend to us in our Latino community.
A legend.
Yeah.
And beyond,
Thank
yes.
you.
Hello,
And I'm still so young. I'm still so
come on,
young.
you guys.
Kidding. Yes, thank you.
And you know, definitely,
Here is your Lifetime Achievement Award presented by...
here is your life. It's flashing before you. But how did this, because I've had so many conversations, right, with people who have been doing this forever, and there's, you know, different situations, right, and different, you know, and I hear a lot of times when it's like, oh, when we just have like this cast looks like so much fun to be around, and you guys are speaking so highly of Shea. I just wonder how it maybe compares to other experiences you've had throughout the years.
It's definitely like top 3.
Oh.
What are the
No,
other
yes,
two?
for sure. I know. It's up there because I mean, I won't talk about other things. We're talking about Primo.
Okay.
But it's definitely up there. The writing and the cast, and I've always loved comedy. And I've always loved like grounded kind of single camera comedy. And I didn't get an opportunity to do that very much, I think, ever before this show, really. So this was a dream job for me. Like I've just been blessed in the last few years to be able to do work that I'm like, oh my God, I never thought I'd get to do this. And so Primo has been like, it's up there. Maybe number 1. Okay, maybe it's number 1, but it just all around it's just been fantastic, and the way it turned out, I'm super proud of it.
We need a season 2, you guys. Do we want
Yes,
a season 2?
please.
We left them speechless. We have to talk about these brothers. There's 5 brothers on here. I mean, I want to know what it's like to have that many people part of the ensemble that you're interacting with. And also, again, does the relationship go off screen? Do you now have 5 uncles? And do you now have 5 brothers that are all up in your lives?
I don't in life have the relationship to the actors playing the uncles that Rafa does to them, being that they're not constantly pestering me with like aggressive, unsolicited advice. But they, did we like just by proxy, like create a sort of surrogate family? Like, yes, it does feel that way. Certainly. All the uncles are great to work with. I mean, it's so much fun. Like the scenes where all of them are together does sort of mirror like the kind of dynamic you see in the show when they're all together, which is like, it's kind of chaos. Like it's, yeah. I don't remember the original question.
You got it. You hit all the points.
Did I answer it? There you go.
Yeah, it was so much fun. I mean, I actually have a special relationship with each of them. And I didn't try to. It just kind of happened. And so I do feel close in different ways with each of them. I would say Henry, which is the Mike character, and Johnny, which is the Rollie character, they remind me most of my actual brother. And I just loved it. Like unless Maya was in the scenes, I was usually the only girl there, a woman. And so I got all the attention. Everyone was very nice to me, always like, you know, telling me I look pretty and all that. So I like that part.
She kept asking. It was like, it's like, you look fine, Christina. Gosh.
It was so much fun. We just like that, like we cracked on each other. We cracked jokes. Like sometimes we would get in a little bit of trouble because it was like, come on, we got to like get through this scene. And we were just showing up to work every day, just hanging out with our family, like just chilling and having fun. So I definitely want to do it for a long time if we can.
As a Latina that's been covering entertainment for a good part of 20 years, it's so nice to see a show that is like not full of stereotypes about us. We're just a family that's existing, that could really be any family. Yes, give it up for that. It was that something that attracted you to work on the show specifically?
You know what? I don't think I even noticed that until we were in it shooting, which is
Great.
Which is probably great because
Yeah.
when I read it, I didn't think this is about a Hispanic family. I was just like, this is a really funny show. And this is great writing and Mike Schur, and I love all the shows that he's done before. And I thought, oh, this is the kind of comedy I want to do. And so that I think that really speaks to like the work and the storytelling. And then as we were going through it, I remember actually my first phone call with Shea after I booked it. I was like, all right, so like she's Mexican American, I'm Puerto Rican from New York. Like, could that be any more like different? And it's San Antonio. So I'm like, so like, do we need to work on an accent? Like I was thinking I was gonna have to get like a dialect coach, like let's do this. And he was like, there's almost no Spanish speaking in this show. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, we're not going to focus on that. And I don't want you to focus on it. I just be Drea, but do your voice and everything. And I was like, oh. And so that was the beginning of me seeing that wasn't going to be a focus really at all. And the focus was the relationship and the family. Right. And we just so happened to be Hispanic. And so it's this thing of like, we're not ashamed of it, but we're also not like in your face. It's real life. It's the person you work with. It's the person you went to school with. It's, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Hopefully the show like cuts well beyond, stereotypes of any kind. Mm-hmm. Like, not just with like it being a Hispanic family, but like, I think, like Drea doesn't like fall into the sort of like single mom trope that like we see a lot of the time, represented in TV. There's so many other things, but yeah, I mean, to Christina's point about like when we were shooting the show, it didn't feel like, it's only now that like the show has come out and we do more press that it's like, there's a lot of sort of talk around like, oh, it's an all Hispanic cast and the show is centered around a Mexican American family and this or that or the other. But I don't think Primo is a show about Hispanic people any more than like It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia is a show about Irish people. You know what I mean? Like, that's not what the show is about. Like, that's just what they so happen to be, Yep. And yeah, I mean, it's sort of like a redundant point, but like,
that's a good example. Like,
it is important to sort of get in that place and sort of like the evolution of representation or whatever that you can, that minorities can just exist on screen. And once we finally have the opportunity to sort of, tell our own story, yeah, bless you, to tell our own stories that we don't have to make it specifically about like our struggle, and your specific ethnic struggle or whatever, or do some tap dance about like, this is what it's like to be Hispanic in America. And like, I think we've seen those shows and I think it feels like a betrayal of sorts when you watch them like that. Speaking at least personally.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, I mean, I don't think Shea or anyone else was interested in stereotypes in that way or in being too sort of overt about anything. Like even the fact about like the show has a really defined sense of place, but I think in the beginning there was more sort of like production design or art design like centered around it being specifically San Antonio. And Shay'd be like, no, like we don't need like a picture of the Alamo here, like this or that or the other. It's like, we don't have to. I was like, I think he was trying to authentically sort of authentically portray like his upbringing, and authenticity comes in, and also like relatability comes in specificity. Like the more specific you make something, the more universal, weirdly, it becomes.
That's good. Yep.
We're definitely in an important phase of our, our fight for diversity and inclusion, where we're just normalizing. Let's normalize this. We're just people living.
I also say, sorry, but also to add on, because I realized this last night, like, because we are talking about this a lot, and I've never mentioned like, this is very true. Like, I think a lot of times when we talk about representation, we might be actually like sort of we might be missing the mark, or like talking about or like talking around the issues, because I think when we talk about representation, like we give too much leeway for the focus to be on optics, where like
Yes.
I think when you focus on inclusion, representation takes care of itself. And so, and to that point, like, you know, the family in the show like is a Mexican family, and so we're all Hispanic actors. But even outside of that, like every actor in the show, like, you know, the love interest, for lack of a better term, like is a black girl, and like his friends are Filipino. And like when you see Drea at work, like her coworker's a black woman, they go to the doctor and it's a black woman. And like it's representation, not just for Hispanic people, but hopefully it's like a fleshed out world fully, where like everywhere you look, like that sort of perspective of like everyone has a seat at the table is, you know, that was reflected in the crew, like in the background actors, like, and that also feels like just true to the story and to the world.
And to your point, and for those of you on the show, also to not be tokenized, like you said, like taking pictures in front of certain things and wearing sombreros or anything like that, you know? It's like, come on, we're just human beings.
Yeah, yeah.
Ignacio's like, damn, I wanted to wear a
Sometimes we
sombrero.
wear a sombrero, but
No, but you say that, but
you
like,
probably
like,
do too,
not like
right?
Not like your promo photo.
no, but I remember,
In
no,
the
but there
right
were stuff like that
situation.
where there it had to be like, hey, why does Rafa have like a stuffed thing of a taco in his room? Like, let's take that out. You know what I mean? There were like token, you know what I mean? Where
Yeah.
so it's, you know,
Yeah.
it's like, it's ridiculous. Yeah.
We've touched a little bit on the single mother situation of it all. Well, not situation, but you know, I was raised by a strong single mom, and I really related to this college storyline where here's mom who has like $50 left in her account, but she is sacrificing whatever she has to get him a suit, to be presentable, and to help, you know, to say, we don't know how we're going to make it, but we're going to get you into that college. Christina, talk to me about that storyline and why that's so important.
Well, again, like you said, for people who grew up with single moms, again, not only Hispanic, but anyone who grew up with a single mom can relate to that that struggle. But I think what's great about Drea and why it's important is that, and again, this is a testament to the writers and Shea, is that it's done with a lightness. It's done with like a, yeah, this is my life. This is where I find myself. But it's done from a perspective of like gratitude, where she almost is proud of the fact that she's kind of had to put all these pieces together to make this thing happen for her son. She's not embittered about it. She's not resentful or, you know, whatever. She's just kind of like, yeah, I got this. Like, I was made for this. Like, I got you. And Drea reminds me of the women in my family, like my mom and my sisters, my tías, my grandmothers, because their children are just everything to them. And you see that in Drea. Like, she just is almost obsessed with Rafa. Like, just how she, how she marks every little thing he does. And she's just so proud. Like, that's how my mom was, you know? She was just like, you're so beautiful. I'm like, I just woke up, you know?
But you asked, right?
But
Yeah.
I asked her.
She just keeps asking. So much validation needed.
Yeah, I need a lot. That's why I'm in this business. No, I'm kidding.
Started early.
But yeah, I think it's important to portray that and portray it in a way that is positive. That this isn't something that takes value from her, but actually adds value to her as a person. And it's good for people to see that.
I want to talk about Rafa's love life.
Okay.
I'm just going to
Oh,
put
me
that out on the
too.
table. Yes, let's dish. There's a girl, Maya, that he's been crushing on forever.
Yes.
He makes some headway throughout season 1, and then we get this boom at the end. She might be moving.
Yes.
Dish, tell me about this crush, this friendship, and where do we go from here?
Ooh. Yeah. Well, you know, Maya's from a military family, and, you know, as is true for military families, like, you know, you move around quite often. And so, you know, her stopping, her sort of time in San Antonio is maybe no different. It's maybe just like stopping through. So yeah, that we discovered that at the end of the season, and I don't know. I don't know what happens. I've heard like a little bit about what we might get to explore.
Whisper to me.
If we get it, okay. So I got an email saying no.
Oh, I was like, seriously? I was like, you didn't tell me.
No. Listen, if you guys keep watching the show and we get a season 2, then we'll get to like see what happens with Rafa and Maya. Like if you don't, then we don't. Like it's that simple. I don't know. But I don't know what happens, and I'm curious to see as well. Like, you know, but I'm just, you know, I just want Rafa to get what he wants. And like, I mean, we would read the scripts for the show as we were shooting. So like we'd be shooting, you know, we shot out of sequence, but we never knew really what was going on in like the next episode or something. So I didn't read the finale until we had shot like most of the season. So I didn't know how it ended either. I didn't, you know, that was also a big reveal for me. And yeah, I'm really curious to see like how that turns out. And yeah, I don't know what to say. I don't have those answers. I don't have those keys. But like,
I gotta try. I'm deadline.
I know. I want to know just as much as anyone else. Yeah.
I love I love that Rafa in Maya finds like his quirky counterpart.
Yes.
Like he's sort of out of place in his world if you continue to watch, in a very like beautiful way. Like he's just totally his own person. And then he finds Maya, who's like that, like the music that she's into, the stuff that sometimes the things she says, like she's just a little bit off in like such a charming, cute way. And that's like, for me watching it, even though I read the scripts and everything, I still found myself just falling in love with this relationship and just being like, oh my God, I really hope they make it.
Aww.
And no, we don't know. They don't tell us anything, okay, guys?
You guys need to watch it and tell your friends and your family and force your enemies to watch it too. They'll be happier after they watch it.
I mean, I will say, like, going back to it is at least loosely inspired by Shea's real life, right? So it is inspired by his wife. So I guess like the future scripts and how it plays out will be very telling of what's going on in Shea's marriage.
Oh.
And,
That was a risky assumption, but
I mean,
yeah,
they got
let's go
married
with it.
in life, so like, you know,
I'm
even
with you,
she's
yeah.
moving, but like hopefully it works out somehow, right? Like,
She's gonna come back. She's gonna stick around.
Shea got so lucky he's not on this panel. Now, Christina, Drea's not off the hook because she also has a love interest that we see at the end. And the tension is so delicious knowing that this poor guy has volunteered to date someone with five brothers.
Oh my gosh.
Talk to me about playing that, you know, that kind of tension. And this guy is just so good.
It was so fun. It was so fun. Like the first of all, I have an older brother who was literally like Tony Montana and Scarface. You guys ever watch that one?
Yo,
No, like he tried
killed
to
that
drown.
monologue. Did you guys see that? The Scarface
Oh,
monologue
yeah.
she has
Thank
in
you.
the show.
Thank you.
Yes.
What's funny about that is obviously Shea didn't know when he was writing it, but I used to watch Scarface every single day when I was a kid.
Wow.
Which my parents, what were they thinking? Me and my brother watched it all the time, and we do the Tony Montana thing. Anyway, but my brother, it's probably why he was like that. He was very possessive and like protective of me. Like he tried to drown one of my boyfriends. He beat up another one. So this storyline was very, look at Ignacio's face. Sorry, Chris, my brother. Anyway, don't look him up. No,
He's like, damn it, I thought I got away with that.
he was very protective of me because especially like Hispanic men, they know how guys can be, right? And then he's just thinking every guy wants the same thing, blah, blah, blah. So I understood that, and I loved being able to play that with my brothers. And I understood how Drea was like, although she's like, oh God, here we go. A part of her kind of loves it because she feels protected, you know? And I think it also, because she has so much love from her brothers, she knows how to pick. She knows how to choose them. And so Sammy is a really good guy. And I kind of love that she asked him out.
Yeah.
You know, I liked that little reveal. I would never do that.
Same.
I'll just stare at you until you come and talk to me.
And then act surprised, right? Like,
And then be like, I don't know how to think about it.
Do I look pretty?
I was just gonna say that.
I'm gonna get you after this panel. I don't ask that. With my eyes, it's in my eyes. Tell me I'm pretty.
Okay, I don't want to hog up all the questions. If there's anyone in the audience that'd like to ask a question, raise your hand. Come on, these are lovely people.
Please ask
There
a
we
question.
go.
Thank you. Pretend
Sir.
you're interested.
So I'm curious if y'all have a favorite scene or favorite moment you played.
Yeah, there's so many moments in the show that were just like a ton of fun to shoot. But one that comes to mind is like there's the cold open of the candy bar episode, I believe it was. There's a scene where so Rafa has just gotten a bunch of sex advice from the uncles. and so as one does, he runs it by Ma to be like, does this check out? And of course Ma's like, don't ever talk to them about any of this again. But I found out while we were shooting that scene was actually only written like for audition purposes. And then once they saw it in the auditions, like they liked it enough that they put it in the show. And so that was a cool discovery. I don't know. There's so many. One of them to shoot, is also, that scene was fun to shoot for so many reasons. For that reason, just knowing that like, they saw us audition with it and they put it in the show. But also like, it was later in the season, so it was later in the shoot when we shot it. And so it was the last like scene that I had auditioned with that was in the show. And it was also a scene where Christina ended up.
Don't you dare. All right, go ahead.
Christina ended up.
You love to tell me that.
We had just eaten like this pastry that like one of the writers had made, and it had icing on it. And so Christina thought she had icing on her finger, and she like licked it and ate it, and it was a glob of hand sanitizer. And so she spent like, we were shooting that scene, and she spent like a good 15 minutes. She's like, no, I need something else. And it was just like,
go, we can go.
And they were all so worried for her, like all the crew running around, and I just couldn't stop laughing. Like
that would have been a good day to shoot.
Woman.
That would have been a good day to shoot when Drea's tasting her own cooking.
Yes, that's the face that you make. Have you guys ever accidentally eaten sanitizer? Anyone? No? Okay, but it was really unpleasant.
It was, but it was also a scene like because I was excited for it, like, and because there was like, we did like a couple of takes and we were moving on, and I was like, oh man, like I wanted to do it more, because it was a fun scene. Yeah. And this is a testament to Christina, like, I kind of just like said that to myself or whatever, and she was sitting next to me on the couch in the show, sort of how we are now. And she was like, "Oh, do you want? Sorry, can we go again? Sorry, I need to go again, guys. Sorry, it's for me. Yep, and my bad." Like, and just like, and everyone was like, "Oh, okay." And the crew like set back up, and like we shot at least 1 or 2 more takes of it. And it was, it's very, that's something you can do when you're Christina Vidal, and it was a very generous, it's a very generous thing to do. And so yeah, that scene came to mind for like a whole bunch of reasons.
I think that's my favorite scene in the show. Like, watching it back, I think that might be my favorite scene. The favorite one to shoot was the Game Champ stuff. I just, like, even that flashback where the cop comes to the door and the house is just
that's literally the one shot in the show I'm not in.
Oh my gosh, you're not.
Like, I wasn't there for shooting. Like, there's like a
But I said the
there's
whole
a body
all
double
the game
that
champs-
rolls over because I had COVID.
We were not nice to him,
All right.
okay? We would let him know you are not Ignacio.
I had a body double that's
No,
like
I'm
not
kidding.
facing camera and rolls off the table.
No, then all
My
the guys
fa-
were messing with him.
That
like,
one day you weren't there, a
The
blast.
best day
yeah, they were like,
ever.
that guy killed it. No, that was really fun to shoot just because it was dumb. I just love doing dumb, silly stuff. I mean, you could tell just listening to me talk. I just love doing that. And so I really enjoyed playing that side of Drea, where she kind of puts down the having to figure things out, having to keep everybody alive and together and be the strong one. And she just got to be one of the siblings, just acting stupid and, like being fun and silly. And so I enjoyed playing that.
I saw another hand out there. Okay, you with the sparkly
Oh my
headband.
gosh, 2 more hands.
So who in the cast with all these really busy, chaotic scenes, who's most likely to break? Who would you?
That's a great question.
Johnny Ray Diaz. Don't you dare point that mic at me. Were you going to point it at me?
No,
Johnny said
I
it was
thinking
me.
about you, but no.
Not as many times as Johnny.
No, Johnny's a good answer. Also, Carlos.
He's so funny.
Yeah. Also,
Carlos Santos.
Carlos Santos.
Also, yeah.
He played Ryan, in case you guys don't know. But
With the
yeah.
mustache.
Yes.
For me, it was Johnny. Like, especially that that scene where we're talking about the tamales, and he has that really funny line about like, it's very bad and it makes our tummies hurt.
Oh, that's true. That one was really hard for him to get out. Well, the thing with Johnny is like if he breaks once, like it's done.
It's done.
Like,
It's
like
like
if
we're
he's
like
already
there for 10 minutes,
If it's
like-
happened once, like it's gonna keep happening. So like no, I do remember. Yeah, that one line was like impossible for him to get out. He just like really couldn't. He's like, I can't look at you.
I like the whole bit about his certificate/degree.
Yeah.
And just to let you know who was the least possible to like break or not know their lines.
No, I knew my lines.
He knew. No, I'm saying. That's what I mean. Is like maybe I said that
Sorry,
wrong.
my bad.
The least likely to break and the least likely to not remember a line is Ignacio, because Ignacio would tell you what your line was. Like if you were like he would be like, it's da da da, and you'd be like, oh, thank you so much. Okay.
And producers would be like, don't do that. They have a lot more credits than you.
And he's like, then they should know their lines. They should come to work prepared.
No, that's not true. No one ever got offended. Like,
No, not at all.
you guys
not
are
at all.
you'd
I was
ask.
just impressed that he knew his lines and our lines. I was like, wow, man, you like really prepared. I'm ashamed.
You're so funny. Okay, I saw another one out here. Right here with the glasses.
Me? 30 seconds just to say thank you. I am a matriarch that can take care of my family, and it's a privilege. So to see someone represented with a loving heart makes me feel seen. And I was, Rafa, trying to apply for college, no one could tell me what it was.
Me too.
And
Good for you.
visibility is so important. So thank you guys very, very much. But I want to ask, who is your favorite uncle? I have my favorite.
Who's your
favorite?
Yeah.
Rollie.
Hey.
I have Rollie. I have a Rollie that's like that. I want to see who's your favorite uncle.
Favorite uncle.
Like the actor or the character? Because it's different for me. Okay. I mean, just keeping it real. Go ahead, you go first.
All right. It's gonna keep us guessing like that. My favorite. First of all, thank you so much. That was like so touching. Thank
Yeah.
you. That was really sweet and kind of you to say. Thank
And
you.
good for you, girl.
Yeah,
Good
honestly,
for you.
yeah.
Trailblazer.
Yes.
Get it.
I also love Uncle Rollie. Yeah. I'll say, and it sounds like a cop out, but it's just the truth. I think it changes like throughout the show. Watching it, like it changes. But no, I love Uncle Rollie. I mean, Johnny was the first uncle that I had that like I shot a scene with like one-on-one. So that's like a special thing with Johnny. Watching the show, I was actually surprised. I was like, man, Uncle Jay, look at you. Like,
know, right?
because on set, he's just so like Batman, he's just like, that maybe I almost took for granted just how funny he was. But it changes throughout the show.
Yeah, he is. Gosh, why'd you have to say that? He is really funny. And he has all these moments that weren't scripted.
Oh my God. When I was watching, and he has that moment in the bank episode.
Yeah.
When he puts the lollipop back in.
Yes.
He's just like
It's so
the most
aggressively.
I was like, I've never seen.
It's a great choice.
I wasn't there for that, but I was just I kept rewinding. I was like, what did you do with the lollipop?
Such a great choice. Yeah, see,
so
that's
good.
hard. Honestly, when you ask us, I want to say just character-wise. So this has nothing to do with performance or anything, because honestly, if it was that, I genuinely would not be able to choose. Like he said, every episode, a different actor shined in their character. But as far as just the character, I would say my favorite uncle is Rollie, because although he's the most violent technically, he has this heart that is so, I would say it's precious. There's this innocence to him, and he's genuine. You feel like he's got heart, man. He really just, you get a sense that, at least in his mind, everything he does is about his family and for others, and not really for himself. And it reminds me of my Theo Jr., who unfortunately passed away a couple years ago, but he was Rollie, 100%.
And while we're talking about that, actually, just what you said, just
Yeah.
to sort of shout out Johnny, and I guess, and give him his flowers or whatever, since we're talking about him. That's a testament to him, because I think, this is just from what I've heard, but I think the way that it was written and originally envisioned, he was a much more sort of hardened,
Yep, that's what I heard.
tough guy, sort of biker gang sort of character. And Johnny read the script and the audition scenes, and he had the perspective or the take on the character that you see in the show.
Yep.
Of much more he'll say that stuff of I gotta bash this guy's head in before it becomes premeditated, but he says it with a smile on his face. And he's doing it, you know what I mean? And he's doing, or headbutting a person at a strip club buff, and he's doing he's yeah, but I did it to, and the voice that he brings with it. Anyway,
so
that's
good.
just his take, and just this lovable, goofy guy of, you said, he'll go out and he'll do that for his nephew, but he's doing it it's he just won you a stuffed animal at a carnival game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's hey, I'm out here protecting you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was his take on it. And
When he tells Drea, I knocked the guy's tooth out for you, and you're
And I brought it right-
oh,
yeah, and I brought
thank
it for
you. That's so
Thank
sweet.
you, and I brought it for you.
I always
you know?
wanted someone's tooth.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a question over there.
We have to wrap it up after this one, so you're closing us out.
Okay.
Okay, so the question is specifically for you. All the uncles are really, really funny. You have, in my opinion, the funniest mind, and it's so subtle. When you were working on your uncle's site, you have tampons in your nose.
Yes, right?
Nose, you say, now they're expanding.
That was actually my husband's favorite line. No, that was his favorite line. My husband's favorite line. Yes, I love that one.
And did you keep the picture from the carnival?
Oh, wow. Did I get to keep the picture from the carnival? I did not. That was a sort of the material for that. It had to be a material that actually had when you threw liquid on it, it just slid right off. So that's a custom made shirt that they made several of. That's not a shirt I have in life, and nor do I want it. So that's okay that I don't have it. And the now they're expanding line. Yeah, man, I wish I could say I improvised that. That was written by our brilliant writers, by our very talented writers who we would not be here without.
They were so good.
And, some of the best in the game. So,
Give it up for writers.
Thank you, guys. Great questions. Thank you.
So, yeah, I guess that's a good note to end on, right? Shout out our writers.
Yeah.
Big thank you guys so much for joining us for the Freebie panel.
Thank you
for
guys
Primo.
so much. Thank you. Keep watching the show.
Big thank you to Christina Vidal and Ignacio Diaz-Silverio. Enjoy the rest of your ATX.